Hello, everyone. My name is Anna Bruno, and welcome to my channel, Get Skills with Anna Bruno. I'm so happy you're here today. And today we're going to talk about bargain shopping, bargaining, getting a deal. So I, I don't know about you, but I come from a culture where we do bargain for everything. In fact, I just read an article that says pretty much with the very few exceptions of Western countries such as Western Europe or even United States, the rest of the world bargains for everything. You know, you go to the store or you go to the market, you go to buy something, you usually you bargain or negotiate. Let's think about this because why not, right? So the way I look at it is, if you don't ask, you don't get. So what's the worst case that's going to happen if you do ask for a better price of something that you want to purchase? What is the worst thing that's going to happen? The worst thing that's going to happen, you get a no answer, right? You tell somebody says no to you. So you didn't really lose anything. You didn't gain anything, but you didn't really lose anything either, right? Maybe your ego is a little bruised, or maybe you don't feel comfortable. I know I have a lot of friends that tell me, oh my goodness, oh my God, I can't do that. I can't. But if you don't ask, you don't receive. And you have to look at it this way. Maybe you didn't win anything, you didn't gain anything, but you didn't lose anything either. So I think bargain shopping is very important. So let's think of some ways we can do bargain shopping. That would be a very interesting assignment that I would like you to consider to do bargain shopping. Okay. It's okay to get a deal. It's okay to want to bargain. It's okay. No big deal. Don't be embarrassed. You're saving money. You can do something else with it, right? So, and one of the ways to get a deal and to have a bargain is to learn how to negotiate. So to bargain is to negotiate. So, for example, I think it's fun. Like, to me, it's like a sport, right? When I'm in Armenia, which is these days is quite often, there's this little outdoor market. We call it vernissage. It's basically a beautiful outdoor market, and people come in and they sell their handmade crafts and all kinds of different things. And they're mostly handmade items made by individual people. And it's a given that this market is set up for tourists. So the locals come in, they have their prices up higher because they know there is a certain percentage of people are going to come and try to bargain and negotiate the price down. And some don't, obviously, but a lot of people do. So when I go to vernissage, um, it's interesting because usually I have either friends with me or family who speak English, and right away from far away that people can tell, okay, well, she is not a local, and they jack up the price. And it's the most fun and enjoyable experience for me to try to negotiate. So one time I had found this, I don't know, it's like a little cutting, like a axe, and it was like a really old axe. It had some Russian letters in it, and it was really, really cool looking thing. And if you convert the money, it wasn't even that much money. It was like, you're negotiating with like a couple of dollars, but it wasn't even that. It was just the process of negotiating to get something out of the deal, right? And I mean, we went just back and forth, and I was joking with the guy. I'm like, listen, I was born here. You cannot fool me. I know your prices are higher. So we were just, we just back and forth. And, I walked away, I walked around, came back. Anyways, I got the axe for like $4. I guess I could have paid like $6, and I paid $4. And again, it's not that $2 difference. It's just the process and the principle of negotiating. And I teach this to my children. My daughter, in fact, was asking, we were at I took her for a karate lesson, and she was just watching me negotiate for the price because they were asking a certain amount of money for her lessons. And I'm like, listen, I have 3 kids. So if I bring all 3 of them, you guys got to give me a better price. And the owner is looking at me. It's like, I know he's thinking. So So I started negotiating. I'm like, look, I'm going to be a great client. And of course, remember to smile all the time. So I'm negotiating. So my daughter, and then I said to them, I said, listen, I'm Armenian. In my culture, we negotiate, we bargain. Okay. You got to give me some deal. And my daughter looks at me, she's 9. She goes like, Mom, we always negotiate. I'm like, yeah, we always negotiate. She goes, how? I'm like, well, if they ask for 100, you negotiate for 50. If they want 300, you ask for 150. And then she goes, what if they only ask for $5? I'm like, okay, you don't negotiate for $5. But if it's 50 or more, you always negotiate. It was just, her wheels were turning. She was like, oh. So anyway, bargaining is fine. Negotiating is even more fine. And to do that, we need to learn the rules of negotiating, right? Just one thing to remember, the first rule of negotiating is that everything is negotiable. Everything. Everything has a price. So everything is negotiable. So that's the first rule of negotiating. So let's talk about the win-win deal. Did you guys ever hear of this phrase? The best deal is the deal where everybody wins. So you want to have a win-win situation. So how does the win-win situation work? Or what does the win-win deal look like? So the win-win deal is when you come up to a negotiation process where the deal works out good or well for both parties, right? So both parties win, both parties get something out of it. It's neither extreme, because if the buyer does really well but the seller doesn't, then the seller is not going to feel good about the deal, or vice versa. If the seller does really well, they really negotiate the price down, but the buyer is not happy, he feels like they were taken advantage of, that's not a win-win either. So the win-win is everybody gives in a little bit, everybody gives up and gives in, and you have somewhere in between where both parties feel like they walked away with something that they wanted. So getting to the yes is one way to negotiate a win-win deal. And the way to do that is to gather as much information as possible. The party that has the most information usually will win. Okay. And if you want to have a win-win situation, again, you want to gather as much information as possible about the situation, about the product, about the person. Why do they want to sell, or why do they want to buy? What prompted them to do so? How urgent is this? And so on and so forth. So the person holding the most knowledge and the most information about the situation usually has the more power to coming closer to their win-win. So hopefully this makes sense to you. Let's think about this. Let's come up with some examples. That will be your homework. Come up with some examples of how could you have a win-win situation. Okay.